because of the booming population of China, by around 2005, 2007, they'll be in extreme poverty and yung famine or maraming magugutom, starvation for the population. Yun yung projection ng American economist nila. And when that was given, yung mga Chinese scholars, they tried to deduce a way to answer that problem. So kung may parcel of land ka, ang pinaplant mo kunyari onion. Nagpa-plant ka ng onion, tanim ka lang dyan, farmer ka, di ba? Sa atin, farmer, parang baba yung tingin. Sa kanila, pag farmer ka, almost the same footing noon. So mababa ka lang, farmer ka lang. Ginawa ng government, they elevated the power of the people. How? Kung ikaw farmer, sige, mag-plant ka dyan ng onion. If you can produce, kunyari mga 30 kilos a month, di ba? If you go beyond that quota na i-impose ko sa'yo, anything in excess, the government will buy it double the price or same as the international price. Ikaw farmer, di-incentivize ka na, di ba? So, farm ka 30 kilos, that will be for domestic consumption. Di ba? And then, yung remaining, that's the
Yung
thing.
excess.
Export nila ngayon.
Okay.
Yun yung isusupply nila to the rest of the world. So, dun nagsimula yung perspective na yun. So, it was merely creating self-sufficiency for them. But at the same time, they wanted to control the world by giving, pag kulang kayo, we can supply.
Today's guest is Dr. Gino Ilano, thought leader in digital transformation and global economics. He is currently a director at the Department of Information and Communication Technology of the Philippines, and he has a PhD in global economy from Xiamen University in China. Dr. Ilano brings deep insight into how technology, policy, and innovation shape national development. Join us and welcome to the Mad Jeepney Show.
Hop on! The Mad Jeepney!
And we're on. Doc Gino, kamusta ka na, pare? Long time.
Mabuti naman. Thank you for having me here.
No, thank you for coming. And nung nag-iisip nga kami ng mga guests na makapagbibigay ng mga magagandang perspectives about moving the Philippines forward, isa ka sa mga naisip namin. No? So,
Thank you.
salamat. So, pare, chill lang naman tayo today.
Yes.
Pero marami din tayong magandang pag-uusapan. So, una, siguro ba, pag-usapan natin ng onti yung kwento mo. And then I think, since nag-study ka sa Xiamen University sa China, where you studied global economy, PhD in global economy. Keen to hear your thoughts and insights as well on China's policies from an economic perspective compared to the Philippines. What do you think we can pick up? And also, maybe from a global perspective, how will China continue to influence and affect global trade? No? So, pero masyadong seryoso agad yun eh. Medyo maya-maya na siguro yun pag
Sure.
nakabuelo na tayo. Siguro, pakilala lang muna natin si Doc Gino Ilano dito sa first few minutes. So, Doc, you took up political economy in the university, masters in international relations. Did you always see yourself having a public servant type of career?
Honest to goodness, hindi Jolo eh. You know my friend, kilala mo si Jessie, di ba?
Oo.
Jessie, you might say na malaki naging influence siya. Kasi
Good influence, bad influence?
good influence, syempre,
okay.
obviously. When we started, yung story namin sa UAP was an ordinary story of students na we just wanna graduate. Pagdating ng, I don't know kung ganito pa during your time, 3 years na undergrad, tapos straight MA, di ba? Ang sabi namin ni Jessie, pare gusto ko ng course na walang summer. Tinignan namin, IMC, economics, humanities, lahat may summer eh. So sabi namin, ano yung wala? So Paul Eco. So we enjoyed the summer, tapos sabak sa Paul Eco. So that was the main reason ba't kami nag-Paul Eco. And siya naman, for the longest time, planning niya talaga mag-law. So ako, what I wanted to do is, I basically gusto ko lang to have an influence then in whatever I do. So nakita ko yung track of possibly teaching college students, and then eventually nakita ko na parang I wanted more. So while taking political economy, nag-iisip na ako, how do I make myself better? And after graduation, nagkatotoo. So I started teaching.
Saan nagturo?
Turo ako San Beda, Alabang.
Oo.
Malapit lang para at least
Taga-South ka kasi.
South lang din ako,
so,
di ba?
Madali
So,
commute,
madali lang.
madali lakad.
Tapos sila yung nagbigay ng unang break ko. Imagine, I was only, okay lang sabi ng edad, no? I mean, 22 years old ako nung gumraduate with MA. Tapos, imagine my students were almost my age in San Beda. So parang, yung mga professor, imagine, hesitant sila. The first exam I took was psychological exam. They wanted to check if I was sane or not.
Lahat ba required mag-psychological
Hindi,
exam?
pare,
O nung
hindi.
nakita ka lang nila?
Parang nakita nila na...
Parang kailangan muna natin siguraduhin to na...
Diba, at your age, tas may MA ka na, nasa tamang pag-iisip ba tong taon to? So yun, when they saw the result, yun, they took me in, and then that started my career. Tapos I did some part-time, Muntinlupa scholar ako eh. So I did some time as well in Pamantasan, Lungsod ng Muntinlupa, just to give back. Kasi they, half of my studies, they paid for it. Kaya sabi ko, I wanted to give back as well. And then, doon na nag-start.
Pamantasang lungsod ng Muntinlupa, college din yun,
Yes,
di ba?
college din yun.
When you say Muntinlupa scholar, paano ba nag-a-apply doon? Paano nagka-qualify doon?
After Southridge, when I was choosing my college,
Oo.
so naghahanap kami ng, something to augment yung studies. And nakita ko yun. It was an opportunity. So nung high school ako sa Southridge, I applied for bida-bida. So gusto kong maging 10 most outstanding.
Oo.
So sumali ako doon. Unfortunately, yung malas na number number 13 lang ako.
13.
But fortunately, if you get into the top 15, automatic ka for the
Okay.
scholarship. So swerte, nakaabot ako doon. So during that time, ang dami, mga 100 students applied. Tapos almost half naman nabibigyan which was a good program of the city government.
Ano yun? Parang Office of the City Mayor.
Yes,
May budget siya for college scholarships.
Yes,
Yun yung Muntinlupa
Yes,
scholar.
Pero
Okay.
ang mostly nakakakuha nun, from the south ka rin naman, same area. So, yung galing sa Muntinlupa Science High School.
Gets.
So, sila yung talagang top priority to be
Ah.
given. Tapos, yung ibang schools within Muntinlupa, you get to apply and then they will evaluate you. Tapos, from there, they'll give you the scholarship.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Tapos
doon
ano
nagsimula.
yun? Stipend, tuition fee, both?
Ano siya, fixed amount, 30,000 every semester. They give
Pwede
it to you.
na.
Oo. So
Oo.
almost half of yung study sa UAP was actually supported by that.
Sana nag-increase din yung budget, no? Kasi mahal na din tuition ngayon.
Totoo. But when I started, ano lang siya, 20 lang.
Oo.
Tapos I ended up until nung 30. I
Okay.
don't know during this time kung magkano na. Most probably nag-increase yun eh.
Okay. Okay.
So doon nagsimula yung story ako.
So, sa mga high school, college students pala na nag-aaral ngayon, na sabihin natin, gipit ko nga rin sa pambayad sa tuition or miscellaneous or even stipend lang sa day-to-day expenses, baka maganda pala na pumunta sila sa City Hall or check nila yung online Facebook page. Check nila kung may scholarships.
I think pwede mismo sa school kasi yung schools all over Muntinlupa, Alabang, they actually form part of the council
Okay.
na nag-evaluate. So kumukuha from all schools. Talagang they check
High
your
school or-
high school pa lang.
Okay. Pero all cities malamang may some sort of
I think
program na ganyan, no?
majority ng LGUs within the metro, they have that.
Okay. Ano tinuro mo sa BEDA pati sa PLM?
Tinuro ko sa BEDA, if I remember it correctly, first subject was International Economics.
Wow. 22 years old. Nagtuturo ng international economics. So mukhang pumasa ka naman dun sa psychological
Oo,
test.
kasi I was able to teach. So, ang nakakatuwa, students during that time were very inquisitive. Dami nilang tanong eh. So parang,
Baka nagdududa sila sa'yo, pare.
feeling ko nga. Baka kasi imagine mo, 22 years old ka, tapos tinuturo mo, sobrang seryosong subject eh. Tapos, that started my stage na naghahanap din ako ng how to further my career. Tapos, I remember my mom, sabi niya sa akin, pangarap niya kasi talaga sa akin maging doktor. Pero I'll share something. Takot ako sa dugo eh. Sa UAP, every year, di ba, may medical. So, pag nagme-medical, pag kinunan ako ng dugo, it's either namumutla ako, hinihimatay ako. So, sabi
Talaga?
ko, paano ko gagawin yun? So, what happened was, tingin-tingin ako ng opportunities. And then, si Carly, Stanislao from the alumni office, sabi niya may offering. Maraming schools. Merong in Australia, merong US, meron ding China. So, I was looking at yung trend. So, syempre, ginamit ko yung economics background.
Graduate ka na rin,
Graduate na ako. I was already teaching. Nung binalikan ko si Carly, nakita ko lang sa FB post niya. And then, sabi ko, parang, if you look at the trend during that time, China talaga was peaking in terms of their economy and in terms of how they, yung progression nila. So sabi ko, might as well try it. So, kasabay ko si, Justin, Nakia. So kami magkasabay, took the exam, evaluation, panel interview, everything, until pipili ka na ng school, ang magi-interview na sa'yo would be yung galing sa university where you're applying. So may mga representatives.
Anong scholarship to?
Chinese government scholarship. Pero hindi ako spy ng Chinese
Hindi ba?
government. Hindi ba?
Si Alice Guo, na-meet mo dun.
Hindi, wala. So yun. Tapos after nun, yun na. Sabi ko sa mama ko, kay Papa, aalis po ako. Saan punta? Mag-aaral po ako abroad. Mga 3 years po. So nagulat sila. Parang di pa sila ready kasi imagine, only child ako eh.
Only child ka ba?
Oo, only child ako eh. So, very close ako sa kanila. For 3 years, mawawala ako. For the longest time, lagi kami magkakasama. So yun yung naging pattern. Swerte naman na magiging busy sila kasi nag-decide yung mga lolo't lola ko to settle here in the Philippines.
Saan ba sila dati?
Galing silang US eh. So, ayaw na nila. Gusto nila dito sa Pilipinas magpahinga, mag-retire. So, yun. Kaya parang hindi rin naging everything was just a breeze in terms of nung nawala ako. Pero ang daming experiences in China. You can just imagine for 3 years, actually mga 4 years kasi yung first year dedicated sa studying the language.
Marunong ka na, fluent ka ba, Mandarin? Ano ba, Mandarin?
Mandarin,
Mandarin.
Required ka to take, may level yun kasi. HSK until level, I think 7, if I'm not mistaken. Kailangan until first level. Conversational. Hindi ka talaga mabubuhay eh. Kasi they will not bring you, if you've been to Beijing, may English pa eh. Sa Xiamen,
Shanghai pa lang napuntahan ko eh.
Shanghai may English, di ba? Kasi
mainland.
business center nila yun eh. Yung mga provinces nila, like Xiamen, all other places, ang hirap ng
Sample nga.
language. Ano gusto mo sabihin? Actually,
Shout out ka sa mga nakikinig mula sa mainland.
Sao Shanghao, good morning yun. Tapos,
Legit
tapos siguro, ang hindi ko makalimutan yung experience mo pag after studies eh. Siyempre may konting gimmick, drinking, gumagaling ka mag-Mandarin. Pag may konting intoxication.
Pag nagka-girlfriend ka na Chinese.
Hindi, yun ang sabi nila. Ano daw yun? It's a strategy. Kasi may language partner. Pero I never tried that. Ang ginawa kong language partner ko, guy. Pero plays
Bakit?
basketball.
Basketball.
So, yun, kunyari, basketball, Da Lang Xiao. So, yun yung basketball doon.
Daw lang siya?
Da. Kasi big eh. Big court, Lang Xiao. Lang Xiao is the ball itself.
Da lang siya.
So, yung mga ganon. Tapos, order ka. Pag medyo intoxicated ka, tatawag ka. Wei, ni hao, lao pan, wo yao, pijo, ping ma. So, ang sabi ko, hello, tawag kasi sa tindero doon, boss, lao pan, wo yao, I want to order ping ma, malamig na beer, pijo.
Pijo.
So, is the beer. So, I want to order na. Tapos, i-deliver na yun sa place mo. So, yun yung hindi ko makalimutang mga lines na lagi kong ginagamit eh.
Ano yung, parang ano nga fluent na fluent. Madulas na madulas pa sa dila mo,
Pero
pare.
to be honest,
Ano beer doon? Qingtao?
no, may mas masarap silang mga beer doon na hindi available dito.
Talaga.
Oo.
Ano?
Ang pinakamasarap for me is yung Harbin.
Harbin.
Harbin beer.
Parang di ko pa narinig.
Galing yun sa yung boundary na ng Russia. So, yung beer doon kasi is hindi siya malt. It's made from parang cereal type na beer siya.
Malt, yung mga
barley type.
Pati yung mga hops niya.
Yes,
iba, parang ganun.
so talagang mix siya. Tapos fermented for mga 20 to 15 days
Okay.
bago siya i-carbonate. Tapos lalagay siya sa bottle.
Okay.
So yun yung experience doon sa China. Pero it's not all about drinking naman in China.
So ano ba inaral mo doon, pare?
Ang inaral ko
Maliban
doon,
sa pag-order ng beer.
ang inaral ko doon, first year ko was language. Tapos second year, third year until fourth year halos focused on world or global economy talaga.
Okay.
So ang perspective na binigay doon was China is positioning itself not as a superpower but someone who can provide to the rest of the world. Yun ang messaging nila. And surprisingly, wala silang binabanggit about doon sa issue ng West Philippine Sea.
Ano ba yung before we go into definition ng just being a supplier or a support to the rest of the global economy, yung Xiamen, saan ba siya located? Ano ba itsura ng lugar na yon? Pagka landing mo doon, ano yung simoy ng hangin doon? Ano itsura ng mga nakikita mo doon?
Kala ko backward siya kasi probinsya yung backstory sa akin. Pero Xiamen is actually very rooted sa Philippine history.
Paano?
Xiamen kasi is part of the Fujian province of China. Xiamen is the city.
Okay.
Fujian is the province.
Okay.
And Fujian is actually the roots of many Chinese Filipino na big businessmen dito. Sila Lu Xiotan, sila Henry C., doon sila galing talaga, Fujian province. And napuntahan ko mismo yung Fujian province, merong rebulto si Jose Rizal doon because Rizal traces his roots in the Fujian province. So yung
Si
sinasabi...
mismong Rizal, Chinese?
Oo. Yung sinasabi sa history na si Rizal is 15% Chinese, rooted siya sa Fujian province. Kasi yung side ng nanay niya, ano yun, first immigrant from the Fujian province.
Talaga?
Yes, kasi ang nangyari
Bakit
ng...
15% lang? 25 siguro.
Basta yung lola pa niya at lola niya sa mother side.
Oo.
Or lolo sa lola. Hindi yung basta mother side yung
okay.
traces ng roots.
Okay.
Ang naging history was nung mag-migrate yung mga first Chinese during the revolution in China. Ang pinuntahan nila was Taiwan kasi Xiamen is very adjacent to Taiwan. So pwede kang mag-swim lang going to Taiwan. Tapos actually, nung time ko, lang siya, Roro lang
So
siya.
medyo kung ito yung Philippines, ito yung Taiwan, nandito sa
Yun lang ang
banda.
Xiamen, no?
Okay.
It's only a 3.5-hour flight going
Okay.
there. Tapos, pag nasa Xiamen ka, mag-Roro ka, 20 minutes, nasa Taiwan ka na.
Okay.
So, malapit lang talaga siya. And if there's yung simbahan ng Catholic sa Xiamen, tanaw mo na yung Taiwan.
Kumbaga, pag nasa Tugigaraw ka,
Tanaw mo na yung di ba?
Yung radyo mo, dati yung mga office mates ko na based sa Tugigaraw, sa
kuha na nila
Ilocos,
station
pare,
sa
pag walang music, 89.9 doon, malabo. Pare, naririnig daw nila sa radyo, Chinese
so,
radio
kuha mo na.
stations
Ganun
na.
kalakas ganun kalapit, ibig sabihin yung proximity. So, ganun din. So, yung first Filipino migrant that came to the Philippines, actually, doon na-trace yung roots ni Jose Rizal.
Talaga, tapos may statue ni Jose Rizal.
Yes. I've seen that firsthand.
Ano yung tsura? Mukhang Pinoy.
The usual Rizal. And
okay.
every birthday niya, every death anniversary niya, yung consulate natin doon, they go there, they naglalagay ng wreath doon sa statue monument ni Rizal.
Ano yung kwento nila kay Rizal? Ba't siya nagka-statue?
Because they consider Rizal to be Chinese, and Rizal is a national hero in the Philippines. So parang it's also
Para may respeto pa din.
giving them immense pride na, uy, may Chinese
Kumbaga,
blood na dumadaloy dito na
Yung pinakamagaling na Pilipino.
may Chinese blood.
Galing sa China din pala.
May ganun.
Pare.
Oo.
Talaga lahat
History
galing
yan,
sa China
history
na
yan.
talaga ngayon.
Humanities, undergrad.
Lupit ah. Okay. Tapos, balik tayo dun sa sinabi mo na
Flyer.
hindi nila balak maging global superpower. Ang plano nila is maging, ano sabi mo?
Supplier of the world's needs.
Supplier of the world's needs. Ano difference nun dalawa? And ano yung baka framework nila in terms of being the supplier of the world's needs?
Yung iba kasi, they would always equate it to, supremacy in terms of economic prowess. Ang nakita ko kasi sa perspective nila, firsthand, this is just my thoughts. One of the many things na nakita ko when they were trying to build their economy from their books. For example, parcel of land. Diba? Nung time na actually nag-root to dun sa book na binasa ko, may isang American scholar that actually did mention na because of the booming population of China, by around 2005, 2007, they'll be in extreme poverty and yung famine or maraming magugutom, starvation for the population. Yun yung projection ng American economist na yan. And when that was given, yung mga Chinese scholars, they tried to deduce a way to answer that problem. So kung may parcel of land ka, ang pinaplant mo kunyari onion. Nagpa-plant ka ng onion, tanim ka lang dyan, farmer ka, di ba? Sa atin, farmer, parang baba yung tingin. Sa kanila, pag farmer ka, almost the same footing noon. So mababa ka lang, farmer ka lang. Ginawa ng government, they elevated the power of the people. How? Kung ikaw farmer, sige, mag-plant ka dyan ng onion. If you can produce, kunyari, mga 30 kilos a month, di ba? If you go beyond that quota na i-impose ko sa'yo, anything in excess, the government will buy it double the price or same as the international price. Ikaw farmer, di-incentivize ka na, di ba? So, farm ka 30 kilos, that will be for domestic consumption. Di ba? And then, yung remaining, that's the
Yung
thing.
excess.
Export nila ngayon yun.
Okay.
Yun yung isusupply nila to the rest of the world. So, doon nagsimula yung perspective na yun. So, it was merely creating self-sufficiency for them. But at the same time, they wanted to control the world by giving, pag kulang kayo, we can supply.
Pero, ang galing nun parang ginagawa nila, nagsiset sila ng right
Quota.
targets,
Yes,
quotas, and then they give the right incentives to drive the right behavior.
Yes.
Essentially, if you increase your productivity or your yield, you will be incentivized with double the value of what you
you're
would
producing,
if
diba?
if normal person ka lang, diba? So, that said, maging mas wealthy ka,
Yes.
and then you help overall production and export. Ang question ko nun, kasi 'di ba yung sa I always thought na ibibigay mo lang sa government.
No.
Binibili pala nila.
Binibili nila.
Tapos at twice the price pa.
Yes.
Okay.
Tapos ibibenta ng gobyerno yon ng world market price. Sa Chinese kasi ang perspective nila, I hope I don't offend anyone. Yung kwento nila when you visit yung mga divisoria natin, Chinatown, dami benta, kahit liit kita. Because for them, it all sums up to a much bigger revenue for them in the long run.
Economies of scale,
Yes,
volume game talaga
yes.
di ba?
Talagang
Pag
ganon,
sinabing Chinese style of business, it's all about scale, volumes,
So
and
for them,
negotiation
they
leverage.
don't want to be a superpower military-wise, but more on the on the side of giving
Economics.
economics. So,
Okay.
that's how they have been controlling. And yun yung nakita kong I wanted to understand further. Kaya ako nag-decide mag-aral.
Okay, pero curious ako kasi kung bibilin yung onion example mo ba, medyo relatively accurate figures in terms of scale na times 2.
Hindi naman. Ano lang yun, kumbaga parang it's
Example.
a case study na parang case study dun sa book na yun. But
Okay.
the system operates like a quota system but incentivizes the people, the farmers, to plant more.
So, I guess ang premise din doon is yung global market prices is actually still higher than the incentivized
Yes.
price. That
So
they will
feeling ko,
buy.
pinipili din nila ano yung mga produce that are actually in demand in the rest of the world.
Gets.
Di ba?
And sa bagay, kung yung forex pa lang, di ba? Pwedeng may baon ka na doon kasi sa
Yes.
iba mahal din talaga
Mahal din,
ng
di ba?
ng sibuyas siguro.
Di ba?
Di ba? Okay.
Tapos imagine mo, you can translate that into other goods. Now, they're doing that for yung mga chips, technology. That's giving them much more edge in economies of scale.
Ano yung tawag sa program na yan? And is this a national program or is it just one-off? Who handles the governance of that program in China?
Yun ang talagang we do have mga attachés that would try to understand. Walang mga specific programs na nakalagay doon. Because being a centralized government, talagang when the government orders it, people would follow. Ganun lang siya. Kaya parang another thing that's very, strategic for the Chinese government, they don't share as much secret as they have. So they try to, keep it to themselves. And ang dami nagsasabi, sa China backward daw. Pero if you go to China, you'll be surprised hindi sila backward.
Yeah. Well, they're one of the biggest economies. They're one of the most influential economic superpowers. So, I doubt that they're backwards. Parang imposible.
Totoo. Hindi ko ma-imagine pag sinabi ng tao na, ay, wala, yung mga Chinese na yan, walang quality. Yun pa, I'm not debunking that statement, but I just wanna correct it na when people say, pag galing sa China, walang quality. One thing that's really interesting, I stayed there for 3 years. Hindi pa dumarating yung mga leaning shoes, yung mga anta. Uso na yan doon. It's much more expensive pag bibili ka ng Nike shoes sa China than bumili ka ng locally produced nila. So they give premium or lower prices doon sa locally produced nila than the ones that are imported. So protektado talaga yung local goods. So bili ako ng Anta shoes kasi bibili ako ng Nike, ang mahal. So bili ako ng Anta shoes, yun ang ginagamit ko, basketball, running. For my 3 years of stay, naiuwi ko pa siya sa Pilipinas. I was able to use it for a couple of more years. Naibigay pa siya sa ibang kamag-anak.
Tsaka Apple,
Diba? They're all being
Nike,
assembled
lahat
in...
naman galing din sa China. Even yung number 1 electric vehicle globally is from
China
China.
na, di ba?
Diba? So, baka yun yung maybe decades ago.
Yes,
Diba? But I think now, iba na din eh. Hindi na din siya tulad nung dati eh. Diba? Ngayon, pag sabi mong made in China, mura. Pero depende sa industriya.
Yes,
alam mong quality din eh. Diba?
Tsaka in China, mapapansin mo, they support talaga local industry. Kung tayo merong Green Hills, sila meron ding parang ganong Green Hills. Pero this is what I know of, they're not a signatory of any intellectual property. So kaya allowed sila internally to create yung mga brands similar to, kunyari, I don't know if you've heard of the brand ERKE, ERK, ang tawag nun.
Hindi ko alam
So
yun.
check siya, pero may isa pang check sa gitna.
Oh.
So in-infuse nila yung dalawang Nike in the logo. Pero pareho niya yung mga itsura ng Nike shoes.
I think kaya din I think from a local Chinese market perspective, di ba? Okay yun.
Yes.
Di ba? Pero I think yan din yung isa sa mga nagiging issues globally kung bakit mga multinationals now avoid setting up factories
In China.
Kasi from what I know, after they put it there, tapos sabi natin, natutunan na kung paano. Bigla
paano
daw
gawin.
meron katabi
Na
na
almost
carbon
the same.
copy.
Oo.
Ah,
Kwento ko siya bakit. Magandang
bakit?
perspective yan. Pwede magbanggit ng brand, no?
Hindi ko din alam eh. Pero sabihin na lang natin, allegedly.
Allegedly, sabihin natin,
Kahit huwag mo sabihin mo na lang siguro, ano.
kunyari car brand.
Oh, may isang
Si
sasakyan.
Car F.
Okay, F.
Si F brand. Okay.
Okay.
Gusto niya ipasok yung a certain model nung sasakyan niya in China. Gusto niya ibenta. Gusto niya magbenta lang. The requirement of the Chinese government was very simple. Bigay mo muna yung blueprint ng kotse for you to sell that here. Gets mo na what will happen, di ba? So, that affirms kung ano yung sinasabi mo kay na Jolo na meron kang planta dito, a few months, may bagong plantang tatayo, alam mo na kung anong gagawin dun.
Gets.
That's how they operate. So, for a certain brand to be available dun, may ganong requirement sila.
Gets. Kumbaga,
Kasama sa mga under the table requirement. If
under the table ba? Parang hindi naman eh.
tahimik siya eh.
Over the table naman. Kasi sasabihin talaga sa'yo.
Pero
Kailangan eh.
hindi siya out in the public.
I
Diba?
think medyo common,
May common na
knowledge
ganun,
na ata siya. Kaya, yun nga, nag-iiba din ng supply chain strategy
Yes,
yung
yung
mga
mga companies.
companies. I think if your company is tech and innovation based, iwas ka
Iwas ka
talaga.
talaga dun.
Pero if your company is economies of scale, and then you're not banking on, let's say, patented technology as your differentiator versus your competitors,
You can.
talagang
Pwede,
sa
pwede.
China ka na lang, di ba?
Wala nang best alternative. And
Correct.
um,
Kumbaga quality-wise, pare-parehas, brand lang talaga. And then yung industry where you're in is not competing based on the latest innovations, based on the latest technologies. Kumbaga, pare-parehas na yan at one point. Yun, doon ka na
Papasok
sa
dun,
low
diba?
cost where you could get the best deals, di ba? Na economies of scale. Pero if kunwari, yun nga, sasakyan, cellphone,
mga tech side talaga.
tech side na alam mong ang labanan ay pagandahan ng experience, pa-advance ng features,
Delikado yun pag doon.
huwag ka na doon, di ba? Baka sa initial phases mo, sa ibang bansa ka na medyo mas stringent yung process, privacy, tech governance. Pero at one point kasi, pag naging public na din yung certain technologies, tapos hindi na siya competitive advantage, pwede ka na lumipat doon din siguro. Alam ko, lumilipat sila. Vietnam,
nearby.
Thailand.
Tayo, we're experiencing yung parang overflow effect of that. And meron akong isa pang gustong ma-open eh. Remember nung time sa China, sabi nila, one-child policy because their population was growing, di ba? Nung time na nandun ako, it was lifted. And sabi nila, the population of China during that time was aging. So they might lose their opportunity to be the labor capital or manpower capital of the world. Alam mo kung anong ginawa nila?
Ano?
They allowed the influx of many foreigners, particularly coming from African region.
Tapos,
Pinapaaral nila for free. Scholars ka doon, scholars nila yung mga African, and then eventually they invite those African to work for them. So,
hindi siya related dun sa one-child policy.
hindi siya related.
Akala ko gusto
No.
nila mga basketball player yung
No.
mga
Ang nakakatawa kasi,
Yung mga-
siyempre, hindi ko na-expect na may magiging classmate ako na from Africa. Kasi that's from talagang totally opposite side of the world, di ba? So,
Saan sa Africa pala?
mga South African regions. And then, for the longest time, they've been flowing their money into Africa.
Yeah.
Doon sila nag-i-invest. Tapos ang kapalit is to bring in manpower from Africa. So yung mga bata from Africa, they go to China to study, they get a good education, tapos for a certain period, they can study there. Tapos babalik sila sa Africa to be able to study again.
or to work for a Chinese company
Yes.
na based in Africa. Alam ko, marami silang companies now sa Africa, especially sa rare earth
Yes,
minerals,
yes.
other export products,
Because
yung raw mats.
Oh, kasi walang resources na yung China, to be honest.
Yeah.
They have the manpower, but di nila ma-complement kung ano yung meron sila.
Tsaka yung sa supply chain side of things, parang sila yung manufacturing, processing, pero yung raw mats usually galing pa
Galing
din sa ibang bansa. Eh.
Yes.
So
So they
baka-
need to have a good source of raw materials, and nakita nila yung kay Africa. Imagine, kasi ang story niya nakakatawa, I don't know, isang gabi, umaga, gusto ko mag-jogging maaga. Hallway, 4th floor ako nag-stay nun sa building. Madilim pa, so patay pa yung ilaw. May lumapit lang sa akin, not being racist. Binati niya ako, "Good morning, my friend." Hindi ko siya masyado nakita. Kasi talagang madilim eh. Tapos, yun pala,
Akala mo,
Africano.
minulto ka.
Akala ko minulto ako. Tapos, eventually, we became friends.
Oh.
Siya yung nagkwento sa akin na ang goal niya is to be able to finish yung studies niya in China and then may offer yung Chinese government for him to work in a company. I think ang course niya was banking and finance. So may offer na nag-iintay sa kanya sa Bank of China. Kasi yung Chinese banking system naman, kung ano yung sector, may specific bank sila na allocated. So for agriculture, may Agricultural Bank of China. For construction, may Construction Bank of China. So doon nila china-channel lahat ng mga loans, everything.
Okay.
So hindi siya sa Bank of China. Bank of China is merely for international affairs. So kaya sabi ko, ang galing ng strategy nila na kulang sila sa tao, aging sila. So they would look for sources din ng tao nila.
Ano ba, nila ngayon? Average family size?
Nasa mga 4 to 5 na lang. Average family size yan.
So, 2 kids pa din.
2 kids na. Pero
Kasi-
before, 1 child na.
Kasi naalala ko guest namin si Dr. Villegas nung isang linggo. Sabi nila na, sabi ni Doc na sa Philippines daw, parang nasa 1.8 na lang daw yung
Yes, oo.
replacement rate natin. So bumaba na din. And then I think tayo, based sa National Statistics Authority ba yun? Parang naalala ko, ang average age natin ngayon ay 24 or 26, around that line. And then, ang average household size, parang 4.2.
4 point, yes.
Diba? So, kumbaga tayo, isang bahay, 4 na tao
Yes.
pa. Tapos yung 0.2, ano ba yun? May baby.
Parang gano'n. yung incoming nila yun.
Baka.
So, ewan ko, natutuwa ako sa perspective na nakita ko sa China during my stay.
Oh. Ano pa yung nakita mo doon na, di ba, probinsya yung Xiamen, sabi mo. So ano yun, maaga, anong oras nag-uumpisa yung araw, anong oras natatapos? 4 seasons ba noon?
4 seasons siya. Tapos, start ng day mo is as early as 5 in the morning. Another trait na siguro you can compare to
So ikaw alas 5 pa lang?
gising ka na dapat.
Gising ka na?
Kasi yung mga tao gising na eh. They're eating breakfast as early as 5 o'clock eh.
Talaga?
Yung cafeteria
Bakit?
bukas na by 4:30.
Oh, seryoso?
Parang it's a culture na being instilled to them na if you start your day early, you'll have more things to do. Kasi merong siesta time talaga sa kanila. They honor the siesta time.
Parang Espanyol? Ganun?
Oo.
Or
Talagang-
3 hours din?
Hindi naman, mga 1.5 siesta time.
Ano yun? Anong oras? 1 to...
That's kasi lunch mo 12 to 1, tas 1 to 2. Ang resume ng klase namin is 2:30 pa. To give you time for, siesta.
Sarap.
Oh. Pero klase mo is mga 2.5 hours tuloy-tuloy.
So, anong oras start ng school? 7?
6.
6?
Ang first class, 6.
First class 6?
Oo.
Grabe yun
Oh, if you, di ba, ikaw na merong ganong kultura, di ba, something that is instilled upon you na you wake up early, you start your day early.
Kaya din, talagang at a very early age, parang na-instill talaga sa Chinese youth or culture na
Yes.
it's productivity is important.
Over
Kailangan mas masipag ka.
Yes.
At kaya din, 'di ba, pag kukumpara mo sa ibang culture, naunahan ka na talaga
Talaga,
nila. Kasi
iiwan ka
kung
na, 'di ba?
sila alas 5 kumain na, ikaw alas 6, 'Di ba?
Gising
Nananaginip
ka
ka
pala,
pa, 'di ba?
oo.
Medyo lamang na sila sa ng 2
Tapos,
oras.
one thing that struck me, 2013 to 2016, 17 ako nandun. Umalis ako 2017, ginagawa na yung, 2014 ginagawa na yung bullet train. Nung kinuha ko yung diploma ko ng 2017, tapos na yung bullet train. And that bullet train from Xiamen goes to Shenzhen, tapos goes around to the rest of the China.
Ilang kilometers 'yun?
Di ko alam yung exact, pero
More than 500.
more than yun. Kasi ikot na siya, traverse na siya sa buong China. Yung Shenzhen kasi, pagbaba mo ng Shenzhen, bus ka na lang Hong Kong na.
Shenzhen.
Oo. So, ganun yung...
Parang nakapunta na ata ako dyan. May amusement park ata dyan.
Yes,
eh.
oo. So, doon pa lang, imagine mo, bullet train. Kasi nga, probinsya siya. Akala ko, hindi totoo yun. So, nung mag-open yun, tinry kong sumakay. Pamasahe was 121 yuan. Exchange rate, 7 pesos per 1 yuan. So, approximately mga 700 plus
700
pesos. May coffee.
Oh.
Offer it for free kasama dun sa ano mo. Average speed is about 200 to 210 kilometers per hour. At ang nakakatawa, baba mo yung coffee mo dun sa parang table mo, hindi nagre-ripple yung coffee. Kahit tumatakbo yung bullet
Talaga,
train.
ah?
Oo. Dun ako na-amaze. Kasi ibang bullet train,
So, quality talaga.
quality talaga.
Galing.
Imagine, in a span of 2 years, bullet train nakagawa sila. Mga 2.5, 14 di ba?
Kasi siguro, alas 5 pa lang nagtatrabaho na
Di ba?
sila.
As early as that.
Imatic plus sa atin kung alas 10 ka pa mag-umpisa ng trabaho.
Di ba?
Di ba?
So, yun yung
5
isa sa
hours
mga
agad yun, plus-
hindi nakikita eh.
Plus 40% efficiency ng isang araw yun.
Diba? Ano yung mapoproduce mo?
Oh. Curious ako, pare. Sabi mo alas 6, nag-start na yung school. Paano yun? Pagpasok mo sa classroom, puno na yung classroom.
Andun na yung prof by 6.
Tapos mukhang naligo na siya. Mukhang ready na siya. Or baka
no.
naman di sila naliligo ba? Kaya, ano.
Pero no offense to the Chinese. Meron akong isang neighbor din sa 4th floor. Tapat ko siya kasi yung African sa tabi ko naman. Tanong niya sa akin every morning, mga 5:30 bago ako kumain, tapos didiretso na ako sa klase. How come kasi ang setup yung may parang sa restroom eh. Tanong niya sa akin, Gino, how come your toilet light is always open in the morning? Sabi ko, I take a shower, then before I eat in the cafeteria and then go to class. So parang tinignan niya ako ng kakaiba. So sabi ko, why? You don't take a shower? Sabi niya, no, you just wipe your face, then put on your dress for the whole day, and then go to class. Gabi lang pala sila naliligo. So, much efficient daw yun for them. Kasi, magpunas lang sila, tanggalin lang kung ano yung whatsoever, tapos eat breakfast, and then do the rest of your day na.
Tayo kasi 2 times a day tayo
3 times, minsan, di ba?
Kumbaga, minsan, bago ka matulog, maliligo
Ligo
ka.
ka.
Tapos
Pagkagising
pagkagising mo,
mo,
yung germs mo sa kama,
Tatanggalin mo yun, di ba?
tatanggalin mo din.
Sa kanila, hindi. Diretso sila.
Pero malamig ba dun?
Siguro yun yung isang reason. Pero I think naging ano na rin, if you're being critical sa mga bagay-bagay, feeling ko ano na nila, style na nila to be productive yun eh.
Yeah. Kasi ako, nung tumira din ako sa London, pare, doon ko din na-gets na
Pag malamig na.
kung bakit minsan once a day,
Ah.
okay ka na maligo. Kasi pag sobrang lamig,
Hindi mo kakayanan
tapos
talaga.
tuyo ka naman, di ka
Hindi ka naman
pinawisan,
pinawisan, hindi ka nadumihan, di ba?
di ka na dumihan, di ba? Tapos, syempre, pag maliligo ka, parang pipikit ka pa na sana mainit yung
Mainit yung
tubig
tubig,
na lalabas,
di ba?
di ba? Tapos, so gets ko din eh, na kung di ka araw-araw naliligo pa nga
Pero
eh.
kahit summer, ganun sila eh.
Ganun.
Kaya parang, hindi talaga, it's not in their culture to take a shower every day. Once lang talaga sila. Yung gabi lang. Minsan hindi pa raw eh.
So, pero, okay. Kaya pala, so alas 6, ganun. Tapos
Diretso
ano
na
pa,
yun.
parang galing sa kama pa
Galing
yung
kama
mga...
talaga. Makita mo pa yung mga linya sa mukha, pare.
Ganun.
Ganun level. Pero,
Pero, ano na, gising na.
yun ka magtataka. Pagdating ng recitation, parang hindi natulog. Tinalo ka. Ako na nagbasa buong gabi, sila na parang feeling mo tulog hanggang sagad na 4:30 kakain ng breakfast diretso sa classroom. Putya pag nagtanong yung prof.
Para English ba yung medium? Or...
Yung medium is 70-30. 70 English, 30 nagmamandarin yung prof. Kaya we were required to understand phrases para at least pag nag-transition siya, magigets mo. Minsan,
But that's also good. Kasi kahit pa paano, natututo ka din ng language.
natututo ka.
Diba?
It's important.
Okay.
Kasi pagbalik ko dito, wala. Totally. Kasi wala akong kausap. So, yun pala yung difference na pag walang practice talaga.
So pagkakain ka sa North Park, pare, papakitaan mo ng ano. Papakitaan mo.
May time na naging useful siya sa akin when I was in DTI.
Oh.
Kasi, di syempre, we do trade fair nung nasa DTI ako.
Oo.
Mga Chinese yung kausap ng mga exporter. So, there was one time, sabi ko sa kanila, tinuro ko, di pienyi. Give me a much lower price. Tawad ako, ibig sabihin nun eh. So, nung sinabi nung exporter yun, pag sinasabi mo kasi yun, yun yung
Parang respeto eh. Diba?
respeto at the same time, parang suki mo. Di ba pag tumatawad ka sa, pagbibigyan ka dahil alam mong suki ka, that's a phrase eh. Parang keyword yun, pag bibili ka sa suki mo na, uy, bigyan mo naman ako. Yun yung may lambing na pagtawad sa kanila eh. So, nung sinabi yun ng pero siyempre medyo may konting mali dun sa natawa yung yung Chinese na babaan yung presyo. Tapos eventually, napababa nila yung presyo for, let's say, sa isang 20-footer, nakuha lang nila for mga $15,000 US.
Anong
Instead of,
produkto?
Coconut.
Pare, dahil pala sa'yo, pati sa pinaaral ka sa Xiamen, pare, nakinabang ang coconut industry natin. Pare, iba ka, pare.
Hindi, actually, one of my passion talaga was, gusto ko yung agriculture. Kaya, nung nakita ko yung strategy nila, how agriculture flourished in China,
Galing.
galing talaga. Even in Thailand, you would see sino yung mga nagbibigay ng tip sa kanila. Mga 60% Chinese din eh.
Talaga.
So, yung impact of Chinese doing business in another country has been kumbaga deeply rooted na eh sa Pilipinas. At tsaka sa ibang bansa, hindi lang sa atin.
Shoutout ka dun sa mga Chinese na tumulong sa'yo, pare. Batiin mo naman ng sample ka ulit.
Sino ba ang prof? Si Prof. Hindi ko na matandaan mga pangalan. Shen Hongfang. Yun yung advisor ko. Si Professor Wu Chongbo. Xie. Lao Shi. Wo Henhao. So sabi ko sa kanya,
Pang-vice presidente yung
hindi.
Chinese mo, pare.
Pangalan niya Professor Wu Chongbo. Xie, thank you. Wo Henhao, very good. I learned a lot from you. So,
Ako, alam ko lang. Shanse.
yung counting yan eh. Counting. Hindi ko makalimutan yung counting na yan dahil pag hindi ka marunong magbilang, sasabihin nila siya, Shi. 20 yun eh. So, if you add Shi, SHI, that's times 10. Pi, pag pi, YAI, that's 100. So, yung san, dadagdagan mo lang nun, Shi, tas pi, nagiging tens or hundreds.
Okay.
So,
Galing. Pare, naniniwala na talaga ako nag-aaral ka doon, pare.
may joke nga si Jesse dyan eh. Sabi niya sa akin, nung makagraduate ako, tapos nagkita-kita kami, sabi niya, pare, nag-aaral ka sa China. Di ba maraming fake sa China? Diploma ba fake? Sabi ko, loko ka talaga.
Si Attorney Jesse
attorney na ngayon
of Cavite.
Oo.
Shout out.
Ay, no.
Okay. Siguro, in terms of yung mga nakikita mo na opportunities ng Philippines, na pwede natin gayahin sa Chinese ways of working, ano yun?
Number one will have to be yung productivity levels nila. Kasi as you age, sa atin kasi, which is, I don't see it as a bad strategy for us. Kasi sa atin, yung mga matatanda, ang ginagawa natin, inaalagaan na natin, di ba? We take care of them, hindi natin nilalagay sa foster care, sinasama natin sa bahay. Sa kanila, hindi eh. Yung mga matatanda sa kanila, self-sufficient pa rin. If you go to mga supermarket, groceries, meron palang SM sa Xiamen bago ko makalimutan. Doon ko nakita na sa food court nila, di ba may nagliligpit sa atin dito? Ang mga nagliligpit doon, usually mga elders. Kasi hindi na nila kaya yung trabaho na you work in a factory, yung mga productivity levels mataas. Doon na lang sila sa mga menial jobs. So ganun yung stratus in their society. And I think that's very important kasi naka-instill sa kanila as early as their youngest age na kailangan ko magtrabaho, I need to provide for myself because all the things I need will be provided by government for as long as I have money. So ganun yung way of thinking nila. And I think that has to be instilled among Filipinos.
Sa atin kasi, pag 70 na, pahinga ka na lang
Pahinga
sa
ka
bahay,
na,
tambay
diba?
ka na lang.
Ganon. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na it's a bad thing, but let's be honest, merong ibang nag-retire at age of 60 na kaya pa talaga magtrabaho. And they can do much more. Kahit yung mga consulting lang, giving advices.
Turo.
Oo, turo. Kasi they have the experience eh. Yung pa, most professors, wala masyadong batang professor. Most of them are on their 60s, 70s. And arguably, after nilang magtrabaho sa company, dun lang sila nagta-transition to teaching.
Para may wisdom and actual. No?
Yes.
Oo.
So yun yung mga bagay na tingin ko should have been inculcated, pwede incorporate in Philippine culture. Kasi tayo, we have, strong family ties. Sa kanila, walang ganun eh. So hindi ka pwede pinsan ko yan, lalapit ako dyan, papatulong ako. Walang ganun. If this is the process, you follow the process.
Tsaka to your point, tsaka minsan, mas malakas ka the more na wag ka titigil magtrabaho eh, di ba? Parang naalala ko, pag pumunta ako sa Hong Kong, Singapore, kahit dyan nung pumunta ako sa China, sa Macau, pare, tumatawid sa kalsada.
Matanda.
80 mag-isa.
Tapos, steady maglakad. Hindi katulad sa atin. Pag nakita ko, medyo yung uugod-ugod eh.
Pero iba din naman kasi yung pedestrian lanes nun, di ba?
Maayos eh.
Alam mong di ka babanggain eh, di ba?
Tapos siguro dagdag ko doon is yung na pedagogical aspect of sharing knowledge. Kasi nung bumalik ako ng China, nasa DICT naman ako, ang nakita ko was really something that hindi naman ako na-touch but nainggit ako. Kasi grade 2, tinuturo kang magpalipad ng drone. Pare nung grade 2 ka, anong tinuturo sa'yo?
Ano nga ba?
Diba, mostly basa, alphabet.
Oo.
Doon, grade 2,
Hindi ko na nga maalala,
tinuturo ang magpalipad ng drone.
Oo.
So, ibig sabihin,
Magbasa lang ata ng clock yung inaaral ko pa
Diba?
noon eh.
they level up yung level of education that they're actually telling the students. So, at 2 years old, marunong ka na magpalipad ng drone. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na talagang they'll be spies in the future kasi papalipad ng drone, di ba? I'm not saying that. Pero, imagine mo, 2 years old, yun na yung ginagawa mo.
Oo nga.
Di ba? So, I think that's important to be looked upon. Kasi yung level of education natin, no offense, we're just moving pa lang. Sila, kung ano yung technology, sumasabay sila.
Okay.
Kung ano yung trend, sinasabay nila. Kung kailangan ng farming, they have specialized classes that would teach students farming. Kung kailangan mong yung desert, maging arable lands, they will teach that to the students.
Okay. Parang ano talaga, may specialization based on your potential contribution to the
Yes.
nation, no? Very, paano ba? Siguro, deliberate sila in terms of the opportunities and maybe the pathways to contribute.
Yes.
Yung, parang kanina, nabanggit mo, dun sa Fujian, sa Xiamen, may simbahan kang napupunta.
Oo,
doon.
meron.
Kala ko, di ba, communist yung China, di ba? Pero, pwede simbahan doon?
All other religions are allowed. Ito yung nakakatawa, nasa ibang island siya. So we have to take a ferry, 5 minutes, from the port to another island. Andun yung lahat ng mga ibang religion. So may Islam, may Catholicism, meron ding Protestant, available naman siya.
And then ano yung policy nila doon? Kailangan lang ibang island or
Hindi naman, kasi eventually,
Kanya-kanya din.
nalipat yung Catholic Church into the mainland eh. Hindi ko alam bakit. Kasi nung nagsisimba ako, I go there pag Sunday morning kasi in English Mass. Sa hapon daw, it's a Chinese Mass. So eventually, nung patapos na yung aral ko sa China, doon na ako napunta sa mainland kasi nalipat nga daw. Kasi marami nang nagsisimba as Catholic din.
So pwede?
Pwede, allowed siya. Hindi
Akala
totoo
ko bawal.
No. Allowed siya,
Fake
allowed
news
siya.
yun.
Fake news yun.
So yung balita, fake.
Fake yan.
Fabricated.
Dito tayo yun.
Okay.
Allowed to practice other kinds of religion.
Okay.
Pero they would prefer pa rin naman Buddhism as yung one of the main religion.
Ang sabi nila ang Chinese style daw of running a government is parang communist in terms of governance but capitalist in terms of economic policies. Ano masasabi mo sa kasabihan na yun?
Sa akin, if it works for a certain country, then there's nothing wrong with that. That's my perspective. Kasi look at Singapore. Singapore is authoritarian din. May close semblance with a communist type of government. But yet, these countries are actually quite successful.
Yeah.
US is a democracy. They're quite successful as well. Tayo, we're a democracy but we have some
We're
questions.
not successful. I think obvious naman yun, pare. Pwede mo naman sabihin yun, pare.
Well, we're not successful. So I think if it's
Baka di
something-
maniwala sa atin yung mga nakikinig pag sinabi
Diba?
natin successful tayo.
Kalokohan naman yun. So if it's something that's working for a certain country, wala akong problema
Yeah.
dun eh.
Yeah, I remember nung binasa ko yung libro ni Lee Kuan Yew nung pandemic, pare. Ang sabi nga niya, ang style niya, ang tanong lang niya is, does it work?
Yes.
Yun lang.
Simple lang.
In fact, he was even critical to the US style of democracy where there is too much freedom
Yes.
that it actually deteriorates or diminishes culture and the effectiveness of, let's say, government. Kasi sa kanya, ang gusto mo naman sa punot dulo, gumagana eh. At nasiservisyohan mo yung mga tao para sa kabutihan ng tao at ng bansa. But too much freedom can be contrary to that.
Yes.
Diba? So sabi niya, so kailangan may authoritarian angle ka din. So I slightly agree. I mean, if we look at, or maybe not even slightly, but I agree. Kasi tayo, the way our government is structured, it's after the US system, diba? Presidential, bicameral type, and then marami tayong emphasis on freedom and policy and pero gumagana ba siya for our culture? Parang hindi eh, di ba? Kaya marami din naniniwala na kailangan iron fist or authoritarian style kasi daw sa Asian yun daw yung gumagana, di ba? Pero kailangan benevolent,
Yes.
di ba?
Leader.
Yun yung sabi yun yung gusto nung iba eh, benevolent dictator daw dapat sa Pilipinas. May mga naging dictator na benevolent, wala, di ba? So, yun lang yung kaya tayo
May magandang
nagdado.
balikan dyan
Oo.
na aspect. Yung the Philippines during, there's an ongoing debate di ba? I don't know if you've heard, yung mga sasabihin ng magulang namin, nung panahon ni Marcos, maayos, mga ganito. There's a certain reality to that. Hindi siya completely false, hindi rin siya completely true. Kasi, yung early stages talaga nung time ni Marcos, we were considered to be, ang tawag sa atin, tiger economy of Asia. So, HPAE, High Performing Asian Economy Style. There are a lot of articles written about it. Kasama natin dito yung Singapore yan, magkakasama sila lahat yan. And we were all moving at above 5 to 7% growth rate ng GDP natin. And marami talaga yung nagsasabi na maganda yung economy natin because during that time, people felt it. Ngayon, ang tanong kasi, for most economists, maganda yung ekonomiya, pero ba't di maramdaman ng tao? Di ba? I think yun yung perspective that gives a certain question kung bakit sinasabi nila hindi okay yung authoritarian. Kasi, hindi naman namin mafe-feel kung ano yung impact ng economy. Because for them, ang impact ng economy is something na magaang yung buhay. But if you look at how people were living during that time, they can buy everything that they need. Versus now na, you can buy everything that you need, but merong but.
Tipid ka.
Yun.
O yung
That's the major difference.
bawasan mo ng 20
Diba?
para for safety.
So I think yun yung discrepancy lang na hindi napapansin ng mga tao.
Yeah.
And I don't have any political color, to be honest. Kasi mas gusto ko yung sinabi ni Lee Kuan Yew, what works? Ano ba yung gumagana? 'Di ba? Napakasimple nung analogy na you adapt what is working. Wala namang one size
fits all.
'Di ba?
Yeah.
You have to tailor fit everything to how your country is being operated.
Yung sa values ng tao, yung sa
Diba?
culture ng tao.
Magkakaiba eh. Hindi mo siya pwedeng sabihin na yung gumana kay ganito, yung kay Singapore, lagay mo kay Philippines, baka hindi gumana
Hindi
yun.
din gagana.
Yung kay China, lagay mo sa atin, baka hindi gumana. What we're trying to say, you get what's good and what you think would work well in the Philippines, yun ay adapt mo.
Yep.
Diba?
Yeah. Well, we gotta take a short break. Tapos balik tayo. Tuloy natin ang kwentuhan after this break. So, Doc Gino, dun sa PhD mo on global economy, where does Southeast Asia fall into the picture in terms of the next maybe major economic breakthroughs or battlegrounds?
Pare, hindi ko makalimutan yung isang sinabi ng prof ko dyan when I was in China. Ang perception nila in China, the one who controls Eurasia, particularly Europe and Asia, controls the rest of the world. So obviously, yung eyes remains to be in Asia. And if you look at yung proximity ng Southeast Asia, andito yung lahat ng modes of transportation, which makes it a very good source of economy. Bakit? Andyan ang China, in Asia alone, andyan ang China, andyan ang India. 1/3 to 2/3 of the world's population concentrated na in those two major countries. And that alone is in itself, a good source of consumers. And if you control consumers, obviously yung goal nila, kanina I've been mentioning na ang gusto nila is to be a global supplier of goods of what the world needs. So, andun yung perspective na yun.
In short, follow the demand lang.
Yes.
Kasi population-wise, tayo, 120
million.
Indonesia is what? 300
300, diba?
mil.
If you look at some of the numbers.
India, 1 billion.
Di ba?
Oo.
So, numbers alone, if numbers game, within Asia pa lang, ang laki na.
Tsaka, well, compared to the demography of other countries, tayo, medyo healthy pa yung young population natin. Yung median age natin is still at the 20s versus, I think, sa Europe, nasa 40s, 50s
na sila.
Diba? So, in 2-3 decades.
Overtaken mo na sila in terms of labor force, di ba?
Tsaka, yung demand, soften. Diba? So,
ang laki ng opportunity talaga. So, obviously, if you look at that, it's an edge of Asia, or particularly, some would say na even you can zoom in sa Southeast Asia. Kasi Southeast Asia alone, napaka-dynamic ng economy. If you look at how, prospective in terms of growth, andito yung may mga pinakamalalaking growth. So, andyan si Vietnam, andyan si Indonesia, obviously, andyan si Philippines. We're expected to grow still at around 4% in terms of our growth rate. So, it's not a bad number. All other countries, may mga expected silang downturn decline na. But for Southeast Asia, all numbers are still very promising.
yung lagi kasi natin naririnig yan na, uy, GDP naman, 6-7% growth. Last year, 4.4, di ba? Medyo slow siya from a GDP growth perspective. Pero lagi naman sinasabi nga ng Pinoy, parang di naman namin nararamdaman na yumayaman ng Pilipinas, di ba? Ano masasabi mo dun?
Maganda. Crash course tayo, economics.
O sige, pare.
Site natin si Ronnie Balbiran 2024.
Okay.
Ang sabi niya, paano ba minimeasure ng ekonomiya, di ba? So ang sagot is GDP. Ako kahit economics ako, nung nagsasubject akong ganun, takot na takot ako eh. Kasi GDP, ang intindi ko lang, gross domestic product. Parang hirap intindihin eh. Yung computation niya, consumer plus income plus government spending plus export minus import, di ba? So, very, very numberish eh. Binigyan niya ng magandang perspective. So, when you measure a country's economy, GDP. So, para mas madali, gawa dito sa Pinas. So, anything that's made within the Philippines, yan yung isang measure. And then you add it up to the GNP, which is the gross national product, or para mas madali, gawa ng Pinoy.
So kahit hindi sa Pilipinas ginawa, basta gawa ng Pinoy.
That forms part of the GNP.
Okay.
If you combine them, that's the real measure of the country's economy. Ang tawag dun, GNI, Gross National Income. But, para mas madali, gawa natin ito. Diba? So it's a conglomeration of all things made by Filipinos as well as those that were made in the Philippines.
So yung GNI, Gross National Income, is both within and without
Yes.
the Philippine country. Or
So,
geography.
yun. So
Okay.
if you look at that, marami kasing ang feeling nila the economy should be felt directly. But oftentimes, ang sinasabi ng mga ekonomista dyan, try to look at the numbers and try to compare certain things before. May mga ganon silang perspective. But obviously, you'd face some negativity na sasabihin nila, yung buhay kasi noon mas madali. Pero ano yung nabibili mo noon versus sa nabibili mo ngayon? Di ba? So, noon, may nabibili ka bang technology? Ngayon, you get to buy technology as well. So,
Dati, pare, mayayaman lang may cellphone.
di ba?
Ngayon, lahat may
So,
cellphone na.
That tells you that the economy is really growing. It might not be a direct impact in terms of
Improving
di ba,
your life.
But essentially, pag tinignan mo yung kapaligiran mo, that's a major difference. So, meron akong binabasang book ngayon, How Economics Can Actually Save the World. Yung mga practical na mga do's and don'ts. Take for instance, pag yung pagpunta ko dito, ano ba yung give up ko? So meron akong opportunity cost na give up na, let's say, natulog na lang ako. Diba? That's an opportunity cost na I had to give up. But I think that was outweighed by the fact that I can share something with this podcast. So yun yung mga aspeto na bibigyan mo ng economics perspective, pero at the same time, it gives you a better understanding of certain things around you. Kasi maraming tao ang tingin nila sa economics, economics, numero lang yan, yung mga graph, progression. No. It's actually very...
Day-to-day life,
yes.
may application
Oo.
siya.
Kumbaga yung decision mo na gumising ng 6 o'clock versus sa decision mo na gumising at 7 o'clock, there's economics there. Diba? And people would actually have a certain impact sa buhay mo kapag tinignan mo siya sa ganung perspective. Kaya hindi mo man siya directly ma-feel, but the surroundings will tell you that, essentially the economy is progressing.
So, nung tinanggihan ko pala si Piolo Pascual sa episode today, dahil sabi ko si Gino Ilano ang pupunta, pare. Yung trade-off, mukhang sulit naman.
Sulit naman. Lang, nakuha mo naman si
Onting paligo lang ang
Mga 3 ligo lang, pare. Pwede na, di ba?
Oo nga. Pare, okay.
So, ganon.
Oo. Kasi Tsaka pare, itong podcast natin, hindi lang audio to. May video din, ha? So nakikita ng mga tao yung claims natin.
Dapat pala medyo nagbihis ako ngayon. Pero okay lang, this is lang. Comfy,
Ano naman yan Chinese culture.
Chinese
Yan ang
culture na
pag-aaralan mo.
gumising ako, di na ako nalik. Joke lang yun. I took a shower this morning.
Okay. So, dun sa shinare mo na GDP, GNP, GNI, yung Southeast Asian context, Philippines compared to Southeast Asian neighbors, and maybe in terms of what you understood in terms of Chinese way of looking at it, how are we performing, relatively speaking?
Maraming magsasabi sa'yo na we're not performing well, pero I would disagree with them.
Kasi nung sa DTI, pare, ikaw din nag-check niyan, di ba?
Oo,
Trade.
nakikita namin yan eh. I would say na malaki yung naging epekto sa atin, impact. Bigyan natin ng isang sector, bawa sa agriculture. If you look at the agriculture sector, yung experience natin, I think galing to, nabanggit na to ni Doc Bernie Villegas in many of his economic briefing na yung growth rate natin in terms of our agriculture sector has been really, really good. Yung percentage natin from 0 to right now, it's at 3.1%, is actually very good if you compare that year on year versus kung paano nag-grow yung Vietnam. Bakit? Kasi yung mga investors, actually it's a good sign para sa mga investors na pag maganda yung agriculture sector, it's a good sign kasi people are, kumakain ka ng tama, may magandang nutrition, yung supply ng pagkain andun eh. 'Di ba? So that's a good perspective that we need to look at in terms of yung numbers natin vis-a-vis our neighbors. Plus, continuous pa rin yung growth ng services sector. Yung services sector, andito yung mga tech side. So, andito yung bago kong tinatrabahuhang angle. So, andyan sila mga IT BPM, yung mga business process outsourcing natin, mga BPOs, even yung mga game development, animation, software, healthcare information, andyan yan. So, our services sector is growing at about 5% in terms of its growth rate for 2025, and it will continuously grow. And it has been a major driver of our GDP. So, yung mga numero na yan, for some, they will see it as numbers, but these are giving opportunities. Right now, the IT BPM sector employs about 1.9 million Filipinos. And 60% of that is from the countryside. So 60% of 1.9, roughly 40% pala is about 650,000 Filipinos from the countryside. So yung mga nasa probinsya,
Na dati iba yung
trabaho is actually benefiting from the ICT sector. Diba?
So, nga rin, sweldo ka ngayon ng 25,000, 30,000 sa ICT sector. Tas 650,000 nga na countryside, no?
Diba?
Kung wala yung sector na yon, ano kaya yung trabaho nila?
Diba?
Ano nga ba?
They can either just go into farming, they can go into other jobs na we might say na will not give them the same level of opportunity. Kasi ang kagandahan nitong services sector, if we go deeper into it, meron dito yung tinatawag na healthcare information management.
Ano yun?
Yung mga nurse natin, ginagawa kasi nila dalawang klase. Merong isang bedside care,
Okay.
tsaka yung isang non-bedside care. So yung bedside care, ito yung mga direct na yung nasa ospital mismo.
Caregiver.
Yung caregiver, physical presence.
Nurse.
Merong non-bedside care na virtual or nasa ibang lugar. Shout out, yung friend ko na kasama, is an example of nurse siya, and he's doing nurse assignment to a doctor that is in the US.
Paano nag-work yun?
See? So that's an opportunity we call as yung outsourcing. So andito ka, with technology, you can provide yung mga kailangan. Kunyari, di ba yung pag pumunta ka ng ospital, ano yung unang ginagawa sa'yo? Triage,
check
di ba?
ng ano,
Ah,
ng
yung
BP,
etc. Yung mga basic information, kukunin yun. They can do that naka-offshore.
Paano?
So, nandito ka, virtual lang.
Paano ikakabit
Hindi,
yung
ibig sabihin, virtual lang. Usually, dun sa kabilang side, meron ng technology. Yung mismong tao, tuturuan lang niya, you place your hand inside the machine, press this button, tapos automatic, and then you will just tell siya magre-record nung triage mo. So, yun yung bagong trend ngayon. And many of our nurses are actually benefiting from this.
Galing.
Hindi mo na kailangan pumuntang abroad, hindi ka hiwalay sa pamilya mo, you earn the same amount of money, close, not naman very similar, pero nasa Pilipinas ka.
Galing.
Diba?
Work from home ka pa.
Work from home ka pa. Pero ang downside lang, you go by their time. So kung ang
Gets.
time zone nila is opposite sa atin, so sa gabi siya nagtatrabaho. So,
Okay.
Pero that's a good opportunity. Imagine mo, andito ka lang sa Pilipinas.
Okay.
'Di ba? So yun yung pinopromote namin ngayon sa DICT as
Okay.
opportunity for our Filipinos. But we're not saying that this is the only opportunity. Even yung, I think, familiar ka naman with the animation industry.
Gaming.
'Di ba? Gaming also. Sila 13.
Oo.
Yan, ginawa yan dito mostly in the Philippines.
Oo.
Pero yung actual na production, I think it was done in Singapore, if I'm not mistaken. Pero most of the animators, ginawa yan dito sa Pilipinas.
So under yun ng DICT?
Yes,
Ano
that's-
ba role ng DICT? Sorry.
Ito nga yun yung medyo masakit DICT, pag sinabing DICT, ang alam ng tao, internet lang
Oh.
Pag mabagal internet, reklamo kay DICT, di ba? But unfortunately, we're much more than that. So DICT,
Fortunately.
we're much more than that. We give more opportunities to people.
So
Aside
DICT is Department of...
Information and Communications Technology.
Okay.
Bigyan natin ng differentiation. Pag sinabi kasing IT, this refers only to the hardware component.
Okay.
Pagdating sa ICT, that's the hardware, software, as well as the services. So mas expanded yung aspeto in the ICT. So we're looking at yung internet, which is the infrastructure side. We're looking at the opportunities as well, which is the services sector. Kasi if you have good internet, good connectivity, ang mangyayari dyan, papasok lahat yan sa atin because Filipinos by nature, during the time of, I think si Maro has, when he was the DTI secretary, siya yung nagpasok talaga ng BPO industry sa atin. And nag-flourish siya when the IT BPM industry was created here. Dati kasi, pag sinabi mong IT BPM, call center lang alam ng tao Ngayon, meron na yung animation, game development, software, healthcare information, tsaka yung call center.
Among many others.
Among many others.
Yeah.
So,
And-
marami na siya.
And tama ba pagkaalala ko, itong DICT is a relatively new
agency,
department
yes.
or agency. May secretary of DICT, di ba?
Yes,
Tapos reporting siya directly to the
to
president.
the president.
And then, tama ba? Parang previous administration lang to nabuo.
No, 2016 lang naging...
2016.
2016 siya naging department on itself. Before...
So previous, 2016 to 2022, di ba?
Previous
Tapos
admin
2022.
nga. So,
Tama.
ang nangyari was, galing siya ng attached agency. Yung history, medyo hindi ako familiar. But from telecoms office, naging commission on telecom, ganon. Technically, puro telco hinahawakan niya. And then eventually, it became ICT.
Ano yung mga nakikita mong trends and priorities na baka relevant sa Pinoy na tarang big impact things in the coming decade, tingin mo?
Actually, start tayo infra side. On the infra side, I think many Filipinos are thinking na nag-improve ba ang internet natin? Bumilis ba?
Bumilis naman.
Di ba? So, it's a good sign. I think we're doing our job well. So, tama yung trabaho namin. We're laying out fiber optic connection throughout the rest of the country.
Fiber optic yan may mga under the sea na...
No, iba pa yon. Merong fiber optic na tinatawag na subsea cable. May nilalayout yun under the program National Fiber Network, National Broadband Program ng DICT. So, last April 2024, nabuksan yung first phase. Kaya malaki yung naging improvement ng internet natin. From Los Angeles, subsea cable, diretso, pumasok sa may Luzon. And then nag-traverse siya until Roses. Yun yung phase 1. About 200 Gbps of total internet speed came into the country.
Tapos sino ba may-ari ng mga cables na yan?
Ang may-ari niyan, supposedly, is government with private. PPP may mga ganong aspeto. But as part of the project, we wanna lay it out. Mas maganda nakalinya na siya talaga para at least beneficial for all the people.
Yung sa China, pare, apart from the many things they're leading the world in, yung digitalization is also one of the things where they're super advanced, di ba?
Yes.
Nung nandun ka sa China, ano yung mga nakita mong ginagawa nila na parang napaka-advanced, na parang tayo papunta pa lang doon? At paano kaya nila nagawa yun?
Obviously,
I think sa fintech space, di ba?
Oo.
Pati sa WeChat, etc.
tawag nila sa WeChat doon, I remember WeSing. WeChat nila in itself, siguro I'll have to answer yung how did it came about first. Obviously, government-led. So when the government said na we're using WeChat for China, okay. So people all followed. Tapos, slowly, nilagay nila lahat sa WeChat eh. And naalala ko, nagpunta ako sa isang...
So ikaw nagka-WeChat ka din?
Oo, required. Kasi nakakonect yung bank account mo na dun. Tapos, if you will buy anything, punta kang grocery, scan mo lang yung QR code mo, and then debit na siya ng debit sa card mo. You don't have to bring the physical card anymore. So QR code na connected sa WeChat mo, scan mo lang ng scan, nade-debit siya. Even yung, kumbaga yung katumbas na nagbebenta ng fishbowl sa atin, naka-QR na nun eh. Oh, as early as that was 2013 when I came. So parang pagdating ko doon, ang sabi sa akin ng mga Filipino na na-meet ko, sabi, download ka na ng WeChat. This is gonna be helpful. Kasi pagsakay mo sa bus, pagsakay mo sa train, even taxi, pagdating mo sa airport, puro cashless na yung payment nila. So even yung mga sari-sari store, you pay using WeChat na. So yun yung early remnants of digitalization na nakita ko. Pangalawa was during my third year, yung last year ko. Sa university, yung ID in itself is just a QR code. Tapos tap mo lang siya. All services. Ready na. Even internet service ng
Ano yung nakikita mong advantage doon? Tingin mo ba dapat sa Pilipinas ganyan din? Or infrastructure ready ba tayo dyan?
may upside and downside. Kasi I think ito I might be touching upon an uncharted territory, so heads up lang. For example, on the privacy side, kasi sa China you give everything to them eh. Parang I'm not saying you're surrendering your sovereignty, but alam nila lahat ng information mo eh. So the government in itself has control over that.
And that's because from a policy
Diba?
policy
And
or national values.
Diba?
Na
So,
parang it's in their best interest to know everything.
to know everything,
Diba?
diba? And I think it's working for them, diba? So because of that, maganda siya. But for us here, if we apply it in Philippine context, hindi ako sure if that's something na we would want. Kasi ang daming concerns on security, data breach, and many people are actually experiencing yung mga fraud, online scam, phishing. So hindi ako sure if that is something we would want to be implemented here. Siguro on the aspect of certain things like payment, pwede siya, but may level of encryption as a safety for people to be protected pa rin.
Pero curious lang marami din kasing nabubudol or nasa scam. Well, apart from the lack of knowledge, di ba? Pero dahil din kasi dun sa level of secrecy, privacy, or protection that we have di ba? Unlike if lahat yan, bibigay mo sa gobyerno and then yung gobyerno talagang nakahabol talaga nila lahat ng tao. Kasi yung scammer, alam nila
Alam
kung
nila.
nasan, alam nila kung ano yung mga account nakakabayat, alam nila yung ID ng tao na yun, mahuhuli talaga nila. Di ba? So medyo yun yung...
May upside, may downside. So it's really siguro how the government will use the data to their advantage to protect the people. Pero sometimes kasi people, they have that, dito sa atin, may perspective na ay hawak yung information ko, baka gamitin against me.
Tsaka may level of... Kailangan talaga may benevolence talaga.
Yeah, di ba? Babalik tayo dun sa kaninang na if we want a dictatorship, you have to have a benevolent leader, which meron na ba? So far?
And not just a leader parang institutions talaga,
Yes,
di ba? Kasi mahirap naman pag umalis yung isang tao tapos hindi sustainable.
Wala na, bago na naman.
Oo.
Same goes with government. Ganon yung nakikita kong problema. May magandang programa yung previous admin. There's a change in administration. I-reframe siya in such a way na medyo may matutweak, may mababago. So, start anew na naman. So, hindi masyado nasusustain what we really wanted for the country to experience.
Okay. Yeah. Yung siguro going back dun sa local context and maybe terms of what opportunities there are. Yung sa Chinese agenda na investing and being a supplier of the different needs, ano yung mga nakikitang biggest opportunities to support itong Philippines and Chinese baka trade or economic dealings na nakikita mo?
Pero we have to put parang may kolatilya dapat na separate muna natin yung issue first with the West Philippine Sea versus doon sa trade component. Kasi pag pinaghalo mo sila,
Talo no?
yung opportunity mo talaga nagiging murky. So every time I answer kapag involved si China, tabi muna natin yung West Philippine Sea. Kasi from experience, hindi ko sila pinagtatanggol. When I was studying, I have never heard yung professor ko na sabihin, kahit isang beses, na si West Philippine Sea ay kanila. Or the South China Sea is kanila. Wala, never nilang binanggit yun. Because they know na may ibang tao. And it was just purely, kung ano yung subject, yun yung pinag-usapan. So if we follow that, I think maraming opportunity that can be learned from how China did it, kung paano sila nag-progress. Historically, ang ginawa nila, closed door policy ng China.
Ano yung sabihin nun?
As in, you only consume what is produced by the Chinese government. Diba? I remember history natin, meron tayo nun, Filipino First Policy. Diba? Di siya masyadong nag-work because I think nagpalit ng administration so nawala yung program na yun.
Tsaka yan din yung sabi ni Doc Bernie, hindi din daw siya naging effective. In fact, baka disastrous pa nga siya from an economics perspective dahil yun nga, parang yung protectionist na view in terms of, focusing on local industries actually deflected mga foreign direct investments.
Diba?
Oo.
So, sa akin,
Pero sa China, gumana.
gumana yun. Kasi doon sila nagsimula. They closed their doors, their borders, sarili muna. Nung naging self-sufficient sila, they opened their economy. And then, nung makita ng mga foreigners na, nagbo-blossom ang China, maganda ka, pumasok sila. Sa atin kasi, yung kultura natin na parang hindi tayo mabubuhay if walang foreign goods na nasa atin. Hirap nang tanggalin Embedded na siya sa buhay ng mga Pilipino And I think maganda yung binigay na perspective doon ni Doc Bernie kasi ang Pilipino or even the foreigners would always see the Philippines as a melting pot of different cultures. Imagine 300 years of Spanish occupation, another 100 from the US, another 50 from the Japanese. So hindi siya purely Filipino culture yung nasa atin. That in itself is actually something na we should convert as an opportunity. yung pagiging multicultural natin should be seen as a welcome party for investors. Kasi from West, pwede silang pumasok. They would see their culture. They can easily adapt kung anong meron dito. Even for the Americans, even for the Japanese. So, and if you look at those 3 countries, wala naman isa dun sa tatlong yun na naghihirap eh. Right now, they are all, you know,
Spain.
di ba? They're kind of doing well compared to other countries. So essentially, we can let them come in from that standpoint. So yung perspective na we're opening up, pero yung closed door policy ng China work for them, pwede natin siyang hindi adapt. Kasi babalik tayo dun sa sinasabi natin kanina na what really works eh. And wala nga, hindi naman siya one size fits all eh. And then another thing, pag tinignan mo how China has been, you know, doing their education system, at an early age, tinuturuan talaga yung bata from values until the level of knowledge that they should have. Sa atin, andun ang values, pero pagdating ng higher education, medyo yung values is sometimes forgotten. Eh. Hindi na siya consistent. Eh. So I think yun yung mga areas na, you know,
Tsaka medyo chill tayo eh. No? Hindi yung parang alas 5 pa lang.
gising-gising na sila, tatrabaho na sila. Diba?
Okay. Pare, siguro, well, we got to wrap up in a bit. Pero ngayon na nasa public service ka, technically speaking, or at least public sector. Yung service, di ko alam, pare. Medyo ko lang. Pero now that you're serving the Filipino nation through the public sector, siguro, para dun sa mga katulad mo 15 years ago, no? Yung batang sarili mo na nag-iisip kung anong path iti-take. Private, academe, public. Ano magiging payo mo sa someone who's thinking about working in government?
Ang hirap ng tanong, pang ano Parang pwedeng pang Mr. Universe siguro yung aspeto ng, hindi kita niyaya mag-pyramiding yung open-minded lang. Kasi pag ikaw, meron ka ng certain bias, in your perspective, wala eh. Sarado ka na eh. You're not gonna be open to new things. You're not gonna embrace new ideas. Kung ano yung nakita mong tama, yun na lang yun for the rest of your life. Plus, you live a big chunk of your life that is open to education. Kasi
So
feeling
being
ko,
open and being open to education/learning, importante yun.
Tapos, ito siguro because of Southridge, UAP, na background, hindi mo wala yung aspect of prayer. Because at the end of the day, kahit open ka to everything, things might not come as how you expected it. Kumbaga, ina-expect ko, madali lang ang buhay, daming problema dumarating. A simple prayer would always help kasi it gives you that right mindset na you don't have to be scared because someone higher than you is actually working to help you.
And we'll sort it out eventually.
Pero merong may yung
Pag nasa gobyerno ka, dapat tinadasal mo. Lord, patawad! Joke lang.
Ay, yun ang isang magandang siguro prayer that I would like to share. When I pray, magkaiba na eh. When I started teaching, Lord, tulungan mo ko to have more patience with students, give me knowledge, etc. Diba? Ngayon, Lord, ilayo mo ako sa tukso, sa temptasyon, etc. Kasi, I'll be very honest, di siya nawala. Hindi nawala yung aspeto ng people would ask, people would offer you. And it's really the virtue of saying no to these kinds of things. And kung wala kang matibay-tibay na pundasyon, people would...
Huwag ka na pumasok.
Huwag ka na pumasok.
Kasi makakadagdag ka lang sa problema.
That's the best way to put it. Kasi
Pero
talagang,
paano ka makakaangat kung di ka marunong maglaro ng ganyan?
ano lang, you work the way work should be done. Kasi marami yung mga nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno, nagtatrabaho sila because they answer to someone. You don't answer to someone. You answer to the, cliche ito you answer to the Filipino people. Diba? Yung alam mo na makakatulong sa nakararami, still the benefit of the public good rather than the interest of one. So, ganun dapat ang perspective mo pag nasa government ka. Hindi pwedeng I serve one master.
Kung ano lang gusto ni bossing,
Hindi pwedeng ganun.
gawin lang.
You should learn how to argue. Sasabihin mo sa kanya, I think ito yung mas makakatulong, ito yung mas makaka-benefit ng mas marami. And this aligns to what, the overall direction
Purpose.
of the country. Parang nagiging makabayan yung sagutan ko dito.
Para kung may nag-iisip, di ba? I'm sure may matututo sila from you. So openness, strong foundation, and prayer, and learning to say no. Kung may isa pa, ano yun?
Fortitude. Yun ang favorite virtue
Ano ba
ko.
yung fortitude ba?
Doing things in spite of difficulty. That's my favorite virtue when I was in Southridge.
Fortitude.
Fortitude. Kasi, dalawa mahirap yung trabaho sa gobyerno.
Oo.
Tapos, mahirap din talagang makibagay sa trabaho.
Gets.
Kasi, yung trabaho in itself, mahirap na. Tapos, yung mga katrabaho mo pa minsan mahirap.
I think sa lahat naman, pare, gano'n. Private o public. Pero I'm sure iba din yung
Feeling ko,
laban.
ako, I would agree na pareho yung kumbaga yung nature. But, I would disagree with you na mas
Baka parehas pero ibang levels.
mas mahirap yung sa amin, pare. Kasi imagine may mga times na talagang sapilitan, sa araw-arawin ka. Kailangan, alam mo lang talaga no. Maabot pa sa punto na talagang galit na galit sa'yo. Pag talagang stand your ground na hindi po talaga pwede, magagawa.
Okay.
Yun yung something na talagang Kaya matututo kang gawin yung isang bagay kahit mahirap, pero on the good side. Kasi meron ding side na gawin mo yung mahirap na bagay on the bad side.
Tsaka, so kumbaga, if meron kang openness, open-mindedness, strong foundations na never too late to cultivate, and then fortitude, at pinag-iisipan mong pumasok, pasok
Oo, pwede talaga.
para makatulong. Good. Well, Doc Gino, I think yan lang yung time natin for today. Maraming salamat sa conversation on your experience in China and the global economy perspectives that you provided. We'll hopefully have you back again soon. Baka meron ka bang mga projects dyan or anything you want to promote personally or at least share? Baka huling hirit mo.
Siguro I'd like to promote yung program sa DICT which is Trabahong Digital. These are digital opportunities that we open to people. And mas gusto namin mabigyan yung mga tao sa Pilipinas ng opportunity na makita nila na sa DICT hindi lang siya internet, hindi lang siya pag-i-ensure na mabilis yung internet, may internet yung lugar. Meron ding kaakibat or kasamang mga opportunity. Kasi right now, malaki na itulong ng pandemic sa DICT, to be honest.
Na-accelerate lahat.
Oo, na-accelerate eh. So right now, naintindihan ng tao na dapat matuto rin mag-adapt kung gaano kabilis yung paggalaw ng teknolohiya. And yung Trabahong Digital is actually an answer to that call na with the advent of technology, a fast-paced learning will give you much opportunities in the digital space.
So ano matututunan nila doon? Paano kumita sa marketplace, sa TikTok?
Hindi lang
ganon?
ganoon, bibigyan ka talaga ng as in from aspects of upskilling, reskilling until job placement. So it's a whole spectrum. Pwede kang i-assess kung ano yung kulang mo na skill, kung ano yung kailangan mong training, ibibigay siya. Bibigyan ka ng opportunities ng training, ikaw napipili, and then until the end, hanggang magkatrabaho ka, tutulungan ka ng DICT. So, it's a whole spectrum of support that we offer to our Filipino constituents.
Good. Well, Doc Gino, maraming ulit salamat. I had fun in our conversation and in our discussion. So,
Ako din. Maraming salamat.
Thanks,
Thank you.
bro. All right, guys. See you again soon. Bye.